Hey everyone, it's Justin here, America's Honest Tax Accountant from Number Crunch Nerds. So right here we have Russell and Sarah Hudson. Now Russell is extremely concerned about one particular topic regarding retirement tax planning, and that topic is time value of money. He's always talking about it, always telling his friends, when you're making decisions about investing through a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, or considering doing a Roth IRA conversion, the number one thing to be focused on is time value of money. The more time you leave your money in a traditional IRA, Russell likes to tell his friends, the longer your money will grow on a tax-deferred basis, which means you'll accumulate more value for your retirement. Everyone knows that. The Hudson family likes to boast and brag. It's common knowledge. Now, David Jones is telling his wife Paula about the IRA planning discussion he had with Russell Hudson earlier that day. David says to Paula, "Do you know that Russell thinks time value of money is the key consideration when making IRA planning decisions?" "You know, that doesn't sound quite right," Paula responds to her husband. "It's not right. Time value of money doesn't apply at all to the Roth versus traditional IRA decision, including the decision to do Roth IRA conversions." "Russell is a nice guy," Paula replies, "but he's a few fries short of a Happy Meal when it comes to IRA planning." Okay, let's hop into it. So now, for those of you in the personal tax planning template program, here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Where inside of the personal tax planning template do we see the time value of money calculation being utilized? Well, to answer that question, consider these three completely unrelated financial items in this list below. Right here we have W-2 wages. Assume for 2025 the amount is $157,891. What do we do inside of the personal tax planning template to project this number into future years for purposes of our tax planning? Well, we grow the number using the following formula right here. For those of you in the program, you have seen this formula many times. We take the value at the end of any particular year, so this is the value at the end of 2025, and we multiply that by 1 plus a certain growth rate right here. And by doing that, we get the projected amount over here for the subsequent year. Then we take the balance for that particular year and we multiply it again by 1 plus a certain rate. And the result is the projected balance for the subsequent year again. And that process just repeats over and over each year. So what does this 0.05 in this growth formula right up here for the W-2 that we just talked about, what does this 0.05 represent? Well, in this particular case, it would represent something like a cost of living adjustment of 5%. Let's say we look at an unrelated item like an investment in bonds. Assume the initial investment is $45,000. We grow that $45,000 at 1 plus 0.04. What does the 0.04 represent in the growth formula for this bond investment? Well, in this particular case, it represents a rate of return in the form of interest income. How about this unrelated item, a tax bracket? Let's say that the top of this tax bracket is $275,875 in 2025, and we grow that tax bracket by 1 plus 0.03. What does the 0.03 represent in the growth formula for this tax bracket? Well, in this particular case, it represents an inflation adjustment in how a bracket might increase by 3% over time. But more generally, here is my question for you. What does this part of the formula represent? In other words, we have 1 plus this part of the formula right here. So i.e. the percentage rate that goes in here. What is that? What does this part represent more generally? And the answer is time value. All of these words right here, from rate of return to interest rate, growth rate, inflation rate, discount rate, even opportunity cost. All of these words represent time value. And in the formula that we use to project our income and our tax brackets and all of the other items into the future, time value is represented by this part of the equation right here. Okay, now wait just a second. As a quick aside, you're saying that one variation of this formula can be written as 1 plus opportunity cost? How does that work exactly? Well, that is correct, and we will do some examples of that later. But for the moment, let's get back to the current discussion. That's what I've been trying to tell David this whole time, Russell says. Time value of money is like literally built into the personal tax planning template. Unbelievable, those people. I think it's David's wife, Paula, who is about 1 bun short of a quarter pounder. Seriously, says Sarah, David and Paula need to start paying attention to people who understand financial concepts. Maybe we need to take the Jones family back to school. So here we are at Harvard Business School Online. Here is the time value of money formula right here. My goodness, look at this thing. And here's question number 2 of the day for everyone in the personal tax planning template program. Is the formula in the red box above at the Harvard Business School, is that the same thing as what's shown in our example below in the blue box? These are examples of how we grow numbers over time, how we project income, how we project tax brackets into the future. Is what's happening right here the same thing as what is being shown in this formula up here? And the answer is yes, it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this time value of money formula to work right down here in this section. The formula starts out with future value. So I'm going to go up here to our example in the blue box, and one of the future values that we calculated was for 2027. The amount is 174,075. So I'm going to drop that in the future value section of the formula right here. The next item is present value. So in our example for this row for 2025, the present value of the W-2 wages is $157,891. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that into the present value section right there. Then, as we have been doing all along, we're going to multiply that by 1 plus some time value right here, just like we were multiplying it by 1 plus time value up here. In this case, we're going to say that 5% represents the relevant cost of living increase for the W-2 wages. That is the representation of time value in this example. So it's going to be 1 plus 0.05, just like it's 1 plus 0.05 right here. Now, in the formula presented to us from Harvard Business School, they divide the time value by another variable called N. N represents the number of compounding periods each year. This is mostly irrelevant and does not change the answer dramatically unless you go out for a very long period of time. So we're going to come back to dealing with N in just a moment. And then right here, this little caret symbol is how you raise something to a power inside of Excel. And so the power that you raise it to will be the number of years. In this case, there are 2 years in our example. If we go back up here just to confirm confirm, we go from 2025 to 2026, that's 1 year, and then 2026 to 2027, that's 2 years. So for this variable t right here, which represents the number of years, we're going to put 2. Okay, now down here on the next line, we're going to do one simple thing, and that is deal with the number of compounding periods. And to deal with that is very simple. We are going to use one compounding period per year in everything within inside of the personal tax planning template. In most real-world situations, the number of compounding periods for anything is probably going to be 1 in most cases. And as I said before, this just complicates the math, but it does not dramatically change the answer, even if there were more than 1 compounding periods per year. So we're simply going to enter 1. Therefore, 0.05 divided by 1 is just 0.05, which we have right down here on the next line. And 1 times 2 is just 2, which we have right down here on the next line. Therefore, if you want to calculate the future time value of a number, we take the present value and multiply it by 1 plus whatever the time value growth rate is, and raise that to the number of years relevant for the situation. For a quick Excel check, let's go ahead and double click on this cell. You can see right here we have the present value of 157,891 multiplied by 1 plus the time value, which just comes to 1 plus 0.05 or 1.05, raised to the power of 2 to represent 2 years. That gives us future value of 174,075, which if we go back up to our example right here, agrees to our result of 174,075. Now David and Paula Jones are toasting a glass of wine after listening to the Hudson family's Harvard Business School explanation about why time value of money is the most important consideration when deciding between investing through a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA, or the decision to do a Roth IRA conversion. Well, says David, smiling at his beautiful wife, it's clear as day. Russell and Sarah are perfect for each other. They both have brains made out of chicken nuggets. Paula starts laughing. Can you believe that in their entire back-to-school analysis regarding the IRA decision, they didn't once mention a tax rate? To which David says, why don't you show them how it's done, honey? To which Paula replies, all right, Russell and Sarah, why don't you pay attention to someone who actually understands financial concepts? The Roth versus traditional IRA decision, including Roth IRA conversions, is a tax rate decision only. It is not a time value of money decision. If you take $7,000 and you tax it now at 24%, resulting in $1,680 of tax, and if you take that $1,680 of tax and you subtract it from the original $7,000, and then you put the resulting $5,320 into a Roth IRA, you can allow that amount of money to grow through the time value of money formula for as many years as you want in the Roth IRA vehicle. In this case, we're applying a 5% rate of return for 20 years, and the after-tax value of that decision after 20 years is up is $14,116. On the other hand, if you take $7,000 and do not tax it right now, but instead put it into a traditional IRA and allow the time value of money formula to work on it for any amount of years that you desire. In this case, we're growing the value at a 5% time value for 20 years on a pre-tax basis. The result of that is $18,573, but of course there is an exit tax from the traditional IRA when the money comes out. At 24%, the amount of tax calculated is $4,458. When you subtract that $4,458 from the $18,573 $14,573 that came out of the traditional IRA, the after-tax value of that decision is $14,116. The after-tax results between the Roth IRA and the traditional IRA are the same as long as your tax rate remains the same over the course of your life. In this case, the tax rate was 24% before the money went into the Roth IRA. In this case, the tax rate is 24% when the money came out of the traditional IRA. If your tax rate remains the same over the course of your life, then there is no difference in the after-tax result between investing through a Roth IRA vehicle versus a traditional IRA vehicle. The time value of money calculation that is occurring inside the Roth or traditional vehicle, that can be identical. In other words, you can invest in the exact same stocks, bonds, and mutual funds in either vehicle. If you choose to make different investments inside the vehicle, for example, you choose to invest at a 5% rate of return in the Roth IRA, and you choose to invest at a 6%, let's say, rate of return inside the traditional IRA, that is a difference in decision about the underlying investments within the vehicle. It has no bearing on the vehicle choice itself. And said more generally, therefore, time value of money has no bearing on the vehicle choice, nor does it have any bearing on the decision to convert from one vehicle to the other. The only difference between an after-tax result from a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA has to do with your tax rate. These are tax rate play vehicles and how they interact with each other over the course of your life as your tax rate changes. That is how you can save tens of thousands of dollars or more in tax over time, but it's all a tax rate decision. It has nothing to do with the underlying time value of money growth, which is strictly an investment decision that has nothing to do with the tax-advantaged vehicle choice itself. The length of time that you grow a number pre-tax is also irrelevant to obtaining the greatest after-tax value between the Roth and traditional vehicles. This general statement that was made by Russell at the beginning of this video, in particular this part right here, the longer your money will grow on a tax-deferred basis. This is one of the most commonly stated and also completely misunderstood statements made in the world of IRA planning. It does not matter at all how many years you grow money on a tax-deferred basis. You can grow the money for 20 years, 40 years, 100 years. It does not make any difference at all. If your tax rate is higher when you pull the money out of the traditional IRA than it was when you put the money into the traditional IRA, you lose. You have paid too much in tax over the course of your life. The amount of time you deferred the tax is irrelevant. All that matters to IRA planning is your tax rate when money goes into and out of the various tax-advantaged vehicles, whether by contribution, distribution, or conversion. Alright, so for members of the Personal Tax Planning Template Program, the final question I have for you today is, who was right? Was it Russell and Sarah, the Hudson family, with their time value of money is the most important thing approach? Or was it David and Paula, the Jones family, with their the only thing that matters is your tax rate approach? And the answer is, they're both right and they're both wrong. It just depends on what's being talked about. The facts and circumstances of the situation will determine who is right and who is wrong for any particular situation. As you've heard me say many times before, there is no right or wrong. There's only right or wrong for your facts and circumstances. So, to continue on this topic and explore time value of money issues versus tax rate issues, I have just uploaded an all new video to the members area where we are going to walk through a variety of IRA growth through depletion strategies. We're going to look at a traditional IRA time value of money analysis through RMD full depletion of the account. We're going to look at a Roth IRA time value of money analysis through a hypothetical RMD full depletion of the account, because after all, there is no required RMD on a Roth IRA. We're going to compare that to a traditional IRA time value of money analysis through RMD full depletion plus post-distribution growth. And we're also going to compare that to a Roth IRA time value of money analysis with no depletion of the account. In addition, we're going to talk about item 1 here. When does opportunity cost to investing through a Roth or traditional IRA vehicle exist? Item number 2, how to apply the 1+ opportunity cost formula that we talked about before to real-world situations. Item number 3, if time value of money is not relevant to the Roth versus traditional IRA decision under your facts and circumstances, then what is it relevant for? Item number 4, how does the present value formula, which is another version of the time value of money calculation, i.e. in this video that you just watched, we only did future value. So the question is, how does present value apply to Roth versus traditional IRA planning? And then finally, item number 5, does time value of money have relevance in RMD territory even if it didn't before you reached the age of 73? So if you're already a member of the Personal Tax Planning Template Program, you can simply log in at your convenience and check that advanced topics video out. And if you're not already a member, lifetime access to the Personal Tax Planning Template and Video Training Program is available for a one-time purchase fee at the link in the description below this video. My Personal Tax Planning Template Program is arguably the most complete and comprehensive individual income tax planning training program on the market in the United States today. Take a look at some of these recent comments by members of the program. Justin, your videos are so detailed and understandable. Thank you for helping us primarily old school retirees. And over here, thanks again for all your hard work and excellent education material. It is helping me to no end figuring out our future retirement taxes, Roth conversion, and trying different distribution strategies. And right down here, Justin, your spreadsheet is amazing, as is all of the work you've put into the videos within the members area of the Personal Tax Planning Template. It's like having a financial advisor report whenever I want for whatever changes happen or that I want to model. And then finally, right over here, Justin, I wish I had paid more attention to the tax implications of retirement when I hit 60, and I have encouraged others to learn from my mistakes. I'm now turning 73 this year and am facing large RMDs. As I said, you can join the Personal Tax Planning Template Program with lifetime access for a one-time access fee at the link in the description below this video. And that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you next time.